Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time. My name is Gary Fowler. I am a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've been involved in 17 startups and 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion. Yes, $1.35 billion. I am the CEO, president of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not, and that's why we're here. Love artificial intelligence and quantum computing, and I love space. So with that, I've got an incredible guest today. Allan is a founder of Cosmiant. He's a Virgin Galactic future astronaut, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. He's an investor at Sen, investor of 1667, Vying, Pinscreen, Instrumatic, Patreon. He went to Bolton, and he is in Manchester. So with that, I'm going to bring Allan Gray on board. Hey, Allan, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks, Gary. How are you?
Great. So I got to tell you now, what does it mean to be a Virgin Galactic future astronaut? Because I read that was in 2014 or so that you were going to go up. Have you been up? The September 2014 that said you're going to go up in the next 2 years, right? What did you do that or not?
No, not yet. So I signed up in 2014, and then shortly after I signed up, there was an accident, and so they had to rebuild the spaceship. And then there's been a lot of testing since then, and actually they're going to start commercial operations later this year. So that's where my 2-year estimate comes from. It's sort of 2 years roughly from now is when I think I'll get to go.
Now, was it expensive signing up for that?
It was, yeah. Although not as expensive as going to the space station or going up with SpaceX or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it'll be worth it?
Yes, yeah. I always wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid, and so this is my only chance.
And then how long do you stay up in space?
So it's very short. So I think the whole trip is probably around an hour and 45 minutes. But the actual space part, the weightless part, you're probably only weightless for maybe about 6 or 7 minutes. And then you've got the rocket ride just before that.
Wow, that's great. Well, it sounds like you're going to have some fun with that. What made you decide to want to do that? Because you as a kid, you wanted to be an astronaut.
Yeah. So when we had there's 2 years before the end of high school, you have a careers session. My careers advisor asked me what I wanted to do, and I said, "Well, I want to be an astronaut." And he basically said, "Look, you're not good at mathematics. You're not going to get the right qualifications. You would need to go into the Air Force, but I don't think you'll get in. So pick something else." And so I eventually went into computer programming, using complex maths all the time. So obviously school didn't really light my fire in terms of maths. It's something I learned on my own later.
Now, is that person still around?
Apparently they ended up in jail.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
You should send them the invitation to the launch when you go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you went to University of Bolton in what, biotech?
No, computing.
Okay, it said BTech. I didn't know. The Bachelor of Technology. Got it. And then you started you went to Old Atlas Products as a senior software engineer. Why did you do that? What made you decide to go there?
I actually got in there through family, so it was my first programming job, and that's pretty much where I learned to code. I was learning to code at university, but I really learned how to code properly on my first job.
Now, then it says Atlas Products International. Do you have a relatives there at Atlas, or is it?
Yeah, the first version of Atlas was family. The second version of Atlas was, in later years, was a mixture of family and old associates.
I got it. And so you spent, you sold to High Jump in 2014?
Yeah.
And you were the co-founder of the group, co-founder responsible for acquisitions, business, finance, operations, technical.
Yes.
Well, that was good. And so what did you do once you sold it? Did you have a big party or did you travel? What did you do?
Traveled. I did a lot of traveling. So I think I stayed there for about another year. And then I decided I wanted to go and travel. But you asked me how did I get into the space thing, and just by coincidence, 3 months before we sold, I was at a conference in Washington D.C. and I only went there because they said we have a space guy on talking about space, and I had no idea what it was. So I went to that conference, and it turned out to be a guy called Stephen Attenborough, who's the commercial director was the commercial director for Virgin Galactic. And he gave his presentation. He showed a test flight, and I didn't even know that it existed. And so I met him afterwards, and he signed a flyer for me and said, "Hope to see you up there one day." And then about 3 or 4 months later, we sold the business. And so the first thing I did was buy my ticket to space.
Oh, that's great. Now, can you resell your ticket? It's probably worth a lot more money today, right?
Yeah, you can't resell it.
No? Wow,
Yeah,
that's
you're not
great.
allowed. Yeah, and you can't transfer it either.
So you're excited about being a future astronaut there.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a guy named Per Wimmer. Did you ever hear his name?
Per Wimmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine.
Yeah, he's going to be an astronaut too. So I talked to him. He was on my show.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it's a really good bunch of people. So when you sign up, my assumption was that I'll just wait for as long as it takes, and then one day I'll get a phone call and say, "Okay, it's time to go." But that's not the case at all. There's a community of people that you get to network with all the time, and a lot of those have become friends now. But you get to do lots of unique experiences along the way.
Really? Like what? Talk about it. I want to hear about these experiences.
Well, within a couple of weeks of signing up, the first thing I got invited to was to go and fly with an aerial stunt team called the Blades, who are all ex-Red Arrows pilots. So got to do that. They throw you around the sky. I've got to do G-force training in a centrifuge.
How was that?
That was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And
I've done that twice.
Did you make your stomach upset when you're going around in the circles, or no?
No, it didn't. There's two types of G-force. You've got GX, which goes against you, and you don't have to worry about that. It just feels really heavy. Then you've got GZ, which is from the top down, and that's the one that drains the blood from your brain. So they teach you to do something called the anti-G straining maneuver to keep the blood in the top half of your body. So that was a bit of a challenge to learn that, but it was also.
Did you black out before you learned how to do it?
No, they teach you so that you don't experience blacking out.
Wow, that's
Was
it fun? Yeah. Was it interesting?
Yeah, it was really good fun. I got to do that one in, I can't remember where it was. Somewhere not too far from New York. And then the second one I did was at Star City in Russia. But that one was really tame compared to the one I did in the US.
Yeah. What was it like? How long did it last?
I think the one in the US was about just over 2 minutes. So they did it. They mimicked the flight profile of the flight that we'll have, whereas the Star City one was just maybe a minute or so.
Wow, that's amazing. And what does it cost now today to get, if somebody wants to do that? One of my audience wants to do that. What does it cost today to go up?
I'm not too sure exactly, but I think the prices may have gone up to around about $400 and something thousand.
Mm-hmm. That's not too bad.
Yeah, but it's for me, the ticket price has been worth it just to experience all the things that I have before we've even flown.
That's great.
Yeah, just yesterday it was. I got notification of. It's an event that I attended a few years ago now, and it only came through Virgin Galactic. And I got asked one day, do you want to go and dig up a new species of dinosaur? And so I went and did that, and then they've just finally got the results through and published the paper. And we did, in fact.
And which kind of dinosaur? What kind of dinosaur was it?
It was. I wrote it down. It was called a Sierraceratops turneri.
And where was that?
It was in New Mexico.
No kidding.
Mm.
And how big was a whole skeleton there? Was it just a couple bones?
Just a few bones, mainly from the head area, and then a couple from the back end.
How did that feel? Finding that?
It was nothing like you see on the TV. I expected there to be, you
didn't
with brushes delicately brushing
like the little brushes, like doing it really. What was it like?
It was just hard work. I thought it would just slowly reveal a skeleton nicely laid out in the soil, but it wasn't the case at all. It was just this big lump that the paleontologist said, all right, this is it. And so we had to put it in plaster of Paris and try and get underneath it, and then just load it onto the back of a lorry. So it was just hard work, really.
Really? Wow. Because you always think they got these little tiny brushes, right? Oh, they have these little tiny brushes, and they're blowing it off, and they try to keep it clean. You never think that they had a big truck and they're trying to load the bone. How big were the bones? Were they big?
Yeah, I think so. Judging by the size of the package that we had to lift onto the back of the truck, yeah, it was pretty big. But it was just from somewhere near the head.
And what kind of a dinosaur was it? Do you know? Was it a meat eater? Or was it?
I think it was a plant eater.
Well, did you ever see a picture of what it looks like? What it's depicted as?
I did. Yeah, there was an artist rendition of it. I don't have it to hand, but I could send it. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow, that's cool. I love that. Okay, so then you went on. Tell us about it. So you've done Ascend TV, right? So that's one of your investments. What's that all about?
It's a friend of mine who was also a future astronaut. He's actually not now. He started a company which they create cameras, so high definition live streaming cameras, to be deployed on satellites, or so basically you can use them for diagnosis of issues. So you can attach it to a satellite, so when it's being deployed, it can sort of the camera can look back at itself and see if all of the parts are moving as they should be.
Wow, that's
yeah. But they just launched their own satellite now with SpaceX, and it's just going to be a continual view of Earth and collecting data, sharing images of Earth. But it's true streamed video, as opposed to what you get currently from everywhere else, which is many pictures taken per second and then put together.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. So then what about the Pin Screen?
Pin Screen, they're doing complex AI-powered avatars. So they started by focusing on personal assistants that you could use in airports and that kind of thing. But it seems that they've geared more now towards the avatar side of things. So similar to Ready Player Me.
Excellent. And then you did another one. Who is the Silicon Valley Syndicate Club? Talk to us about that. Who is that? What group is that?
They're just a syndicate that I can't remember how. I think they invited me to one of their events, and I just started investing through them. So they seem to they've got really good contacts, so they get access to deals that have already been vetted through previous investment by well-known VCs.
Excellent. And then you did Instramatic is one of your investments also.
Yeah. Instramatic is it's voice advertising. So if you're listening to the radio through something like Alexa, I hope my Alexa doesn't. It's just going to kick in. If you listen to the radio through Alexa, if a radio advert comes on, it can prompt you in real time and ask you, do you want to know more information about that? And so Instramatic provide the technology so that you can have two-way conversation triggered by something in an advert.
Interesting. So, okay, let's talk about where you are today with Cosmian. What's Cosmian all about?
Okay, we're working on some AI, and the idea behind it is that it turns everyday mundane products that you would browse and look at online before you buy them into an interactive personality, so you can have a conversation with it. So if you're going to thinking of buying a vacuum cleaner, if you was to go on something like Amazon, you would see the static text and a picture. You'd be able to actually click on a chat button and have a full-on conversation with it and ask it all the questions you want about its features, how much it might cost, how long it might take to arrive at the house after you buy it. But also you could ask it questions about, the beginning of the universe and that kind of thing.
Wow. So what does a vacuum cleaner like have a face? Does it, do you change it a little bit to make it look more human-like, or how does it work?
At the moment, no, we've not decided yet. We don't know whether we'll add some technology in to try and animate from the existing pictures, or whether we'll just give it some slight motion when it's speaking.
Interesting. And how long have you been working on that? That says here 2016.
Yeah, well, actually, we haven't been working on that since 2016, so we've probably only been working on that for about 2 years. Prior to that, I just used Cosmian as something to keep me entertained, just so I could use it as an R&D vehicle, really, just to keep me occupied while I decided what I was going to do next.
And do you have many employees in Cosmian? How big is the team?
There's just 4 of us in total. We're a small team.
Interesting. And so what's the secret of creating a successful company? You've invested in a lot of companies. You've done companies. What's the secret sauce?
I think it's just hard work and determination, and try and optimize constantly. Every time there's a problem, work hard to make sure that problem can't happen again, and just keep doing that over and over again.
And how do you pick the team?
I personally pick mostly just on, obviously I do look at their experience, but mostly on gut feel. What could that person be? How would they fit in my team?
So how they fit in and gut feel. And do you have people that you've worked with time and time again that become part of your team, or how does it work?
Not this time around. I've spoken to some people from the previous business about maybe getting involved in this one at a later stage. But the people I'm working with now, I didn't know at all before this.
Interesting. And so what's the goal? So what's Cosmian want to do? What's the end goal for Cosmian?
Well, we're working on another aspect of the technology at the moment with Manchester University. And the idea is that you can feed a film script or a movie script to our AI, and it will automatically generate interactive characters from that. So that you could maybe, for example, in the middle of a Netflix, you pause Netflix and you can see the current cast in the current scene. You could possibly talk to one of the characters, and it would adopt the persona of that character in relation to the movie that it's in.
Oh, that would be cool. Why would somebody want to do that though? So you're watching The Matrix. Now you're watching John Wick. I'm not sure I'd want to talk to John Wick, but so what would it be all about? Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing it?
Yeah, I think it's that to do it for products on a website. The idea is to try and create a new way to engage consumers. So we're going to be losing third-party cookies. Well, they're nearly gone now anyway. And so we need a way to collect first-party data or zero-party data. So we think this might be a good way to do it, and at the same time offer something back to the consumer. So make it more of a social experience. And while we're doing that, we'll be able to collect the kind of insights that you would had access to before, really. And those insights.
Interesting. So why would even somebody need a movie? You could create your own movie.
Yeah, technically you could. Yeah. We also want to implement it in books. So using the same principle, reading a book, generate the characters from that. And then at the beginning of a book, you could have a QR code for each of the main characters, scan the QR code and immediately go on an adventure with Harry Potter or something.
Yeah, no, exactly. When that, I mean, you could create your own adventures, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. So when do you think this technology is going to be to the mainstream?
And we have the first version launching in about 2.5 months now. And that'll be a Shopify plugin. So anyone that's using Shopify to run their store, they'll be able to use our plugin, and that will bring their products to life.
Wow, that's amazing. So it sounds like you're having a lot of fun doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So what's your advice to entrepreneurs that are out there that are just getting started, graduating with their engineering degrees? What words of wisdom do you have for them?
I would say you don't always have to follow the rules. You don't always have to follow the rules of how you've been taught. There are other ways.
You don't always have to follow the rules. That's right. You know, it's you got to think differently sometimes. Like Steve Jobs said, you got to look outside of the box. And you never know, like you said, you know, it sounds like when you were in school and your counselor said, you can't do the space stuff, you can't do math, and you know, you proved him or her wrong. So that's a good thing. And now you're living your dreams. But that's important in life, isn't it? So we're coming up to the top of the show. Closing thoughts, and how do people reach out to you?
Well, reach me on LinkedIn. It'll be fairly easy to find. Just look for Allan Gray and Cosmiant. Closing thoughts. I haven't really got any.
Yeah, so, you know, it's great. So to my audience out there, you know, Alan's journey is amazing. Imagine sometimes life put roadblocks in front of you, which your job in life is, and the opportunity is to go over those roadblocks. I remember one time I was taking martial arts classes, and I was studying for my black belt, and Master Kwan said to me, he said, Gary, when you hit the board, it's not about looking at the board of the cinder block. It's about visualizing being on the other side. So part of it's about visualizing being on the other side. Part of it's understanding that you can do it. Part of it's staying positive. And the other thing is, you know, bringing the love, bringing the compassion, bringing the empathy. Because when you're doing this, you want to create a very warm, interesting experience that's pleasant for everybody, and you can win. We need a lot of kindness on this planet Earth. We need a lot of goodness. We need a lot of positive thinking. So bring that to your life. My name is Gary Fowler, and I am the host of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. And it's great to have my guest, Allan Gray, here today. Great to have the insights in space and entrepreneurship and investing. To each and every one of you, stay safe, stay happy, and stay healthy. I'll see you again next Tuesday for another exciting edition of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. Take care, everybody. Thanks for being here, Allan. I really appreciate it.